My lords, it's not just a capitalist economy that runs on incentives, it's human nature to calibrate actions through the lens of what's in it for us, and encouraging people to work hard, succeed, earn their place in the world, deliver safety and security for self and families, whilst generating the taxes that sustain public services is the right thing. But get that balance wrong by destroying the incentives to do the right thing or set tax rates too high, and that leads to no tax at all. It's the Laffer curve in action, and my lords, Britain is being subjected to a whole economy experiment on the Laffer curve at every level. Incentives to advance in the UK are being weakened just as incentives elsewhere in other countries become more attractive. And behaviours do change. A close school friend and a substantial British taxpayer has just gone to live in Dubai. Someone in my electoral ward is buying a ranch in Montana. Expensively trained, newly qualified doctors and nurses are moving to Australia. Our problem's so bad. Earlier this evening in your lordship's house, we had an emergency debate on emergency legislation. And what's of those he left behind? What's the effect of this bill? Well, first of all, it creates a glass ceiling on aspiration, on salaries approaching £100,000. But as we've heard this evening, it's not just those salaries that are affected, it's middle-class professions, such as found in the other place, or amongst mechanics, or timber merchants, solicitors, accountants, a whole raft of middle-class aspirational professions. Now, I'm sure the Minister's going to talk about those with the broader shoulders, but I want to give the example of my daughter's boyfriend who works in the West End. He was so proud to come and tell us he'd been awarded a £17,000 bonus from his business for having worked so hard and for having become so valuable to his firm. But I was astonished when he told us that he only got to keep just over £6,000 of that tidy sum. He doesn't pay 60%. He's paying nearly 70% because of the student loan. Why did he bother to work so hard? He only has the broadest shoulders, in the sense that he plays rugby at the weekend. But he's no fat cat. He's 28. He's at the start of his career. He's living in a flat share with people he doesn't know in Brixton. Perhaps Lord Davis could go round and knock on his door. He's just a young man working hard for long hours, trying to save for a deposit, to climb the ladder and better himself. Okay. But at least that option, the incentive, has been open to him to sacrifice some of that bonus to salt away some money into his pension, well over 30 years away, so that one day he might be able to reduce his reliance on the state and, yes, perhaps look after my daughter. Yeah. But by this bill, that option will be slammed shut. Earning 17 to get around 6. That's not right. And I say to the noble Lord Davis, that's what's been overcooked. How much more can the man be expected to give for having worked so hard? And, of course, let's not forget his company, who have had to chip in another £2,500 in their own NIC. It's not right for him, it's not right to drive the brightest and best overseas, it's not right for our economy or the exchequer in the long term. Now, I know salary sacrifice isn't for everyone, but it is for many, because as we've heard, it incentivises people who are doing well at the start of their career to invest in themselves with a second long-term return for the state by reducing their reliance on the taxpayer in later years. Both the individual and the state co-investing in our own collective future. But we know that limiting salary sacrifice will affect basic rate payers more pound for pound than the higher rate taxpayers, although I do accept that the sums are larger for the higher earners. We've heard, and I confirm, that employers will withdraw pension salary sacrifice as an option altogether. And it's going to complicate pensions and HR in companies that are already burdened with extra costs and onerous duties, and will potentially encourage undesirable optional remuneration agreements and avoidance schemes. And further, we'll see huge practical details around how that 2,000 limit will be applied to monthly paid employees, weekly, and people with multiple years. So taken together, it's just another example of bureaucratic, counterproductive, anti-growth, incentive-sapping policies. More taxes on employment, Inexplicable investment-sapping taxes on private, not public businesses. Existential taxes on pubs. Crippling carbon taxes on our heavy industries. Discriminatory taxes on private, not public pensions. And astonishingly, even new taxes on tomatoes that will disproportionately affect those with the smallest means. And now by this bill, new taxes to discourage people from doing the right thing. This insanity will impoverish us all, and the noble Lord is creating a fresh black hole in his name that the government will drive the tax revenues down into the dirt and impoverishing our nation.
I don't want to read it.